Okay, so wherever I move my mouse, he's actually pointing towards it. However, he's not moving, so let's have some movement. So we're going to get him to move, and we won't get him to move 10 steps, we'll just get him to move 3. And what you will see is he moves towards our mouse quite successfully, but what happens when he meets our mouse is he goes into a little bit of a wobble. So we don't want a wobbly ghost, we want to sort this out. So we're going to use a function that's going to use if, and then a condition, then, and then an action will happen as a result. So I'm going to use a sensing block, and what I want to do is I want to have a look for distance to mouse pointer. I also want to get an operator block where I want something to be greater than, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to combine these so that it begins to make sense. So I'm going to put this block into this shape here. So if distance to the mouse pointer is greater than, I'm going to put in 10, then we need an action to happen. Now we've already done the action and it's sitting up here, so I'm going to grab hold of this, I'm going to pull it down here, and then I'm going to sit my if statement in between the forever statement. Okay, so this is going to happen forever. However, if the distance to the mouse pointer is greater than 10, then our character is going to move. Let's play this and see what happens. Okay, so he's following quite nicely now. He's not wobbling, which is a good thing. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create a new sprite to join our ghost, and we're going to do this by clicking on the paintbrush and by creating our new sprite. Now at the moment this takes us into what we call the bitmap mode. You'll see down here it says bitmap. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to convert it to vector because it's easier to use, well, in my opinion anyway. You can choose to use bitmap if you prefer. I'm going to convert it to vector, and we're going to get moving from this point onwards. We're going to create something like a lollipop. So I'm going to click on ellipse, and you'll see it says shift circle. So if you use the shift key, what it will allow you to do is create the perfect circle. So I'm going to hold down my shift key, hold down my mouse, and hey presto, I have created a beautiful circle. That might be a little bit big, so I'm going to make it just a fraction smaller so that it's more realistic. I'm then going to click on my bucket, click on a colour, and we're going to click on, I'm going to make it a purple lollipop. I'm going to click on the lollipop. Alright, I'm then going to create a stick by using the line tool. I want a nice white stick, and I'm going to drag the stick down. Okay, you'll notice that the same thing happens on my screen as happens on here. We're now going to change the details of the sprite. At the moment it's called sprite 1, so we can change that. I'm going to call it lolly, and down here you can choose its rotation style. So you can get it so that it flips over and it can be in any random direction if you want, or you can make it so that it only goes left, right, or you can change your own style. Okay, so I'm quite happy with lolly. I'm quite happy to leave it like that. For our ghost, however, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make him just go left and right rather than flopping around. Okay, so now we have our ghost and we have our lolly. We're going to be doing some scripting for the lolly so that we can get that to behave in a particular way as well now. Alright, we're going to do some script for the lollipop now. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off as with any script with the hat, and I'm going to then bring in the forever command, and we can start giving this chap some script to actually work with. So I need to get some motion happening now, so I'm going to ask him to move, but I'm going to ask him to move a little bit slower than the ghost, so I'm going to say that he can move 2 steps, and then what I'm going to ask him to do is to turn 15 degrees so that he's actually shifting around. And also what I want him to do is, I don't want him to disappear off the edge, so I'm going to say if on edge, bounce. So I'm going to pop this in here, lock it in place. Let's have a look and see what happens. As you can see, the lollipop is just spinning around in circles. I'm moving my ghost around and he's going left to right. But the lollipop's a bit predictable, so I think that'd be really easy to catch. So we're going to change it a little bit, and what we're going to do is we're going to bring in some operators, and we're going to actually get it to pick a random number. So instead of turning 15 degrees, we're actually going to get it to start off with -20, and it's going to be between -20 and 20. Okay, so we're going to see whereabouts that ends up. So let's have a play and see what happens. So you can see it's a lot more random now, and our ghost is going to have to work harder to catch it. All right. Now, our aim of our game is going to be to get the ghost to catch the candy, so to catch the lollipop so that he can eat it. And we're going to get him to have a score that shows how many lollipops he's eaten. But first of all, what we need to do is we need to create a new costume for our ghost. So we have the ghost selected. I'm going to go up to costumes. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this costume. So now I have the original one and I have the second one. So I'm going to be working with this fella here, and I'm going to be changing the way that he looks. Now, the way I'm going to change the way he looks is going to be to use. So I'm going to go to the pick up a color tool, and I'm going to click on the ghost itself because I want it to have the exact same whiteness. Okay, so I have my tool picked here. I'm then going to use the bucket tool, and going across here you'll begin to see that whatever I click on, it will actually change the colour off. So I'm going to in part get rid of his mouth. So we're going to start off with the background colour. We'll go on to the tongue. Let's make this a little bit bigger so we can see him. Tongue, and there we go, we have no more mouth. So I'm then going to use my tool again. I'm going to click on the black so that I've got the same colour black as is used in the drawing. I'm going to click on the pencil tool, and I'm going to draw a mouth for him. What I'm also going to do is give him some nice fat cheeks so that he looks like he's been chomping on something. So I'm also going to rename this ghost. We're going to call this ghost Closed because he has a closed mouth, and the other fella is going to be called Open because he has an open mouth. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going between the open and the closed mouth so that we can actually see our ghost chomping away on the lollipops.